What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Frodo Blur channel, where I'm just a guy with an afro who loves talking about Sonic. My name is Kyle, and I'm so happy you decided to stop by today. As you guys can probably see around me from my poor dressed up set design, we are going to be talking about Silver the Hedgehog. And man, any day is a good day when I get a chance to talk about one of my goats. Because I don't know if you guys saw recently, but Silver all of a sudden has been blowing up on social media. And it's just making my heart so happy. Kind of sparking up the conversation of the character's comeback tour, his redemption arc, or whatever you want to call it. And I thought it would be interesting for us to talk about it and discuss what could this possibly mean for the future of the character. But before we get into that, we gotta talk about the character of Silver himself. Where does he come from, and how exactly did we get here? Well, Silver made his game debut in the infamous Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Or Sonic 06 for short. He's a character from a distant bad future and goes back in time to our present to stop the Iblis trigger to prevent the flames of disaster. And I don't think I gotta get into how beloved Sonic 06 was, right? Newsflash, it wasn't. But I've always said this, yes, Sonic 06 was a bad game, but there are some good elements that came out of it, Silver being one of them. So because of its bad ratings and very critical reviews, Sega just kind of wants us to forget that Sonic 06 ever happened, because ever since then, they kind of been putting Silver on the back burner, and they really haven't been doing anything with his character. Sure, he's been in other things, like the rival games, a few mainline Sonic games, and the IDW comics, but other than that, that's it. So when I say for years, people has been clamoring and preaching to the heavens and begging Sega to put this character back into the spotlight because he is a very good character. He's just got a bad rap because he debuted in a bad game. But it wasn't until recently where out of nowhere, Silver's just been blowing up, and it was all thanks to this fan art right here. This was done by someone named Corn Art over on Twitter. He made this badass image of what it looks like Silver's future. And I'm not gonna lie, the egg-shaped city in the background kind of reminds me of Robotropolis from the Sonic OVA. Silver looks damn good in this picture, y'all. Especially that hood-like cape flowing in the wind. Oh my gosh, he did my boy right here. And it looks like unused game art from like a scrap official Silver game. Yes, it's that good. And he just kept going with it, from making Silver to appear in what is called the Egg Dome. And then he made Neo's Sage, who looks absolutely badass. And once the community saw this, everybody took off and ran with it. This is one of the reasons why I love the Sonic community, because we see fan art of a character with a great premise, and then we just build upon that. I mean, as we speak, other artists are coming up with more art, musicians coming up with their own scores based on this concept, and there are programmers and animators who are actually making a concept of a game. It's nothing short but amazing, and it all started with this one piece of fan art. And this kind of sparked up a conversation because all of this is surrounding a character who hasn't been getting that much love. But now, thanks to everything that's going on right now in the Sonic community, the demand for putting Silver back into the spotlight has now grown louder and louder. But now comes the question. We're seeing all of this happening in real time, and fans clearly want Silver to have his time to shine, right? So what could this possibly mean? Man, at this point, the ball is in Sega's court. Like I mentioned earlier, the demand for a Silver anything is there, they just gotta pull the trigger. And I think seeing all of this could be a perfect opportunity to do like a year of Silver. Because that's another aspect that's kind of been floating around online in the community, right? And I've always said it was either going to be one of two characters, either Knuckles or Silver. But if I'm being completely honest, anybody could get their own year, but it's these two in particular that will be perfect candidates for a year of. But because Silver is getting all this attention from the community now, I feel like a year of Silver would be perfect. Because let's look at what they did last year for the Fearless Year of Shadow campaign. I think till this day, this is probably Sega's best marketing campaign in this new era of Sonic. Because not only this was something they just gave to Shadow because of his popularity and all the things he was gonna be in, like Sonic X Shadow Generations and Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but it was a perfect opportunity to reinvent the character and reintroduce him to new and old fans. And the same treatment can be done with Silver. And of course, the other solution would just obviously be just to make a solo Silver game. Because Silver is a character who's been around for 19 years at this point, and I still have questions about the Hedgehog. Like the origin of his powers and how did he get them? Does he have any family or direct ancestors? And I feel like giving him his own solo game would be a perfect opportunity to explore the questions we all had for years. Because when I'm thinking of a solo Silver game that takes place in a bad, distant future, right? I'm thinking of a gameplay or an art style in the same vein of the Nier games. More specifically, how Nier Automata is, and how that world is just pretty much expansive, and kind of a little bit of the elements of the gameplay style as well. Because overall, that world just looks absolutely gorgeous. And it kind of does take place in a distant future, apocalyptic kind of setting. And gameplay wise, I'm thinking more of how Control is, when you're using your telekinesis and picking up enemies to throw them back at each other, or picking up surrounding objects around you, using them as shields and then throwing them back at the enemy. Because let's be honest, that's what he pretty much did in Sonic 06. And I would like to know more about Silver's personality, because Silver is normally portrayed as a kind-hearted and well-meaning individual with a strong sense of justice. Because outside of Sonic 06, and maybe a little bit in Forces, we really don't get to see a lot of Silver's personality. And a solo game would be a perfect opportunity to explore more sides of him. And this is why I think Silver getting a year of treatment would just do him so much justice. And with possibly a solo game attached. Because this could be the chance for Sega to reinvent the character, make a new generation of Sonic fans love him, and give him the love that he so effortlessly deserves. But as of right now, this whole Silver uprising means nothing at the moment. But this is where the Sonic community shines. When we want something, we will not rest until we get that thing. And more love for our futuristic boy is something that we want. As the president of the Silver Needs More Love fan club, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record when I say this, but I hope somebody, anybody at Sega is seeing what's happening right now. I absolutely love Silver. He's been one of my favorite characters ever since I was a kid. And seeing the community just coming together to show love for him just makes me so happy. Because this is a character who deserves a spotlight. This is a cool character. And he has a great story, concept, and premise. And I would love for Sega to put him on a pedestal and give my boy his flowers. But hey, that's just what I think. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think about this whole Silver comeback movement? Is he one of your favorite characters? And would you like to see a year of Silver? And with all that said and done, have a good rest of your day.